welcome to our School at Home class in English 7. We are in the fourth quarter of our set of lesson. I hope everybody will delight in learning today with lesson number 1. Interpersonal communication. Employ a variety of strategies for effective interpersonal communication for interview. After going through this video lesson, you are expected to distinguish the different types of interpersonal communication, apply a variety of strategies for effective interpersonal communication for interview. For a start, do the following exercise. You can pause this video if you need more time. Press play again when you're finished with the activity and when you're ready to proceed with the lesson. Oops! Before you pause and play, don't forget to get a paper and a pen. Are you ready? You may answer the pre-test now. Here are the answers of the pre-test. In the last lesson from the third quarter, you have learned to differentiate literary writing from academic writing. Today, you are going to enhance your communication through dialogues, conversations, and answering the questions. Hello, good afternoon. Hi, who's this? Hello, this is Miss Balazar from S2 Love Company. May I speak to Miss Sola Alcantara, please? Hi, this is Sola Alcantara. I'm just wondering if you have a few minutes of your time to talk about the position you are applying for. Sure. How did you prepare yourself for this interview? I had a short prayer before answering this call. I see. I think you are ready. Can you tell me something about your last job? Let's have some questions about the interview. 1. Who were the people in the conversation? Number 2. What do you think was the conversation about? Number 3. How did Miss Alcantara feel about the interview? The conversation was about an example of an initial phone interview. The interviewer is Miss Baltazar and the applicant is Miss Alcantara. The applicant was prepared ahead about how to deliver answers to difficult questions. In addition, the applicant didn't forget to have a short prayer before answering the phone initial interview, even she felt a bit nervous. Today, we are going to discuss a variety of strategies for effective interpersonal communication for interview. What is interpersonal communication? Interpersonal communication is the process of exchanging information, ideas, and feelings between two or more people through verbal or nonverbal methods. Let's discuss the 4 types of interpersonal communication. Let's begin with oral communication. Oral communication is anything involving speaking, from the words you choose to your tone of voice when you say them. Oral communication is vital to your work and can even make you more likable. Examples of oral communication: public speaking, phone calls, audio messages, podcasts, radio interviews, and meetings. Let's have the strategies for oral communication. Pay attention to intonation. Intonation, also known as pitch, means the rising and falling of your voice. Read the examples. Example 1. I have been working as school assistant for 3 years. Example 2. What will be my working schedule? Example 1. The voice falls at the end of a statement to indicate that you're done talking, while example 2, it rises at the end of a statement because it is a question. Omit or reduce verbal fillers. Verbal fillers are vocalizations such as and like. They're useful in that they help others know that you've got more to say and are just trying to find the words when verbal fillers are used too much. Example, I feel so glad when a student writes a thank you letter using the English language before going back to his or her country. Change your speaking rate depending on the situation. Speech rate is how fast or how slow you speak can have an effect on the person you talk with. Speaking fast is persuasive. They believe on what you say. Speaking slowly, on the other hand, could be seen as more kind. Listen carefully to the two examples. Example 1. I have been working as an English as a second language teacher since 2010. I feel so glad when a student writes a thank you letter using the English language before going back to his or her country. Example 2. I have been working as an English as a second language teacher since 2010. I feel so glad when a student writes a thank you letter using the English language before going back to his or her country. Which examples is persuasive? Which example sounds kind? Try to listen again. Let's have the second type of interpersonal communication, written communication. Written communication includes words and symbols, emojis, and punctuations that are typed or marked with a pen, pencil, or other writing instrument. Examples of written communication: email, text messages, reports, proposals, job descriptions, performance evaluations, grammar, PowerPoints. Let's discuss the strategies for written communication. Enhance written messages with emojis and GIFs. Emojis can be helpful when you try to send the tone of your written message. It is informal but a nice way of communicating. This is especially true during casual conversations, such as those between you and a work friend chatting on Slack. Emojis and GIFs can add humor and emotions. No written communications limitations. Editing emails to get our words just right can also make our communication clearer and more concise. Let's have the third type of interpersonal communication. Nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication includes any communication that does not use words, hand gestures, and eye contact. Examples of nonverbal communication: video, clothing, voice pitch, facial expressions, and body postures. Let's discuss the strategies for nonverbal communication. Use that firm handshake. An initial handshake can enhance the positive effects and reduce the negative effects of a social interaction. Avoid slouching. It is not only slouching bad for your back, but it could also make you feel less confident. Avoiding slouching could be a simple way to communicate to yourself. Let's have the last one. Expressing our emotions through facial expressions. It is a difficult way of communication with others. We can say one thing with our words, but express something different through our facial expressions. You agree about something verbally, but your face shows that you don't like it. Let's discuss the fourth type of interpersonal communication, listening. Listening is the most fundamental component of interpersonal communication. Listening is not something that happens, that is hearing. Listening is an active process in which a conscious decision is made to listen and understand the messages of the speaker. Let's discuss the strategies for listening. Use active listening. Successful applicants use active listening strategies and ask for clarification of a question they don't understand. Active listening to clarify the interviewer's intention. Example: does it mean I can start working tomorrow? Practice empathy. It makes you a better listener because instead of listening to correct or confront them, you're listening to understand them. Example: I will do my best to work so hard. I promise you won't regret it. Feel free to make the video chat a phone call instead. Listening becomes particularly difficult when buffering video. If a poor connection is making it difficult to listen during your video call, ask them if you can switch to a phone call instead during the interview. Example: I'm sorry, I have unstable connection at the moment. Would you mind if I call your recruitment number? Let's try. Few items as practice exercise. Read the following situations. Choose the letter that best describes the types of interpersonal communication in each situation. Situation 1. After the applicant does a short prayer by himself, he does firm handshake with the interviewer, not sticky or weak. He also avoids sweaty palms, so he visits the restroom, washes hands, then run them under cool water prior to the interview. What type of interpersonal communication is presented in situation 1? A. Oral communication. B. Written communication. C. Nonverbal communication. D. Listening. Did you say letter C, nonverbal communication? You got it right! Based on what we discussed, handshake is an example of nonverbal communication. Let's move on to situation 2. The applicant asked 2 questions for clarifications to the interviewer, but before she asked, she had a short prayer silently. She asked on how the performance will have a monetary incentive. Second was the definition of white-collar jobs, because the applicant was not familiar with it. What type of interpersonal communication presented in situation 2? A. Oral communication. B. Listening. C. Nonverbal communication. D. Written communication. You got it right! It's letter B! That's great! The applicant used active listening to clarify the interviewer's question. Situation 3. The applicant was able to answer very well about the interviewer question, which was, why are you the best person for this job? The applicant displayed confidence, telling his success about his experiences that made him likable by the interviewer. What type of interpersonal communication presented in situation 3? A. Oral communication. B. Written communication. C. Nonverbal communication. D. Listening. Very good! The answer is letter A. The applicant had a very good oral communication that made him likable to be hired. To wrap everything up that we have discussed for today, always remember that there are 4 types of interpersonal communication: oral communication, verbal communication, nonverbal communication, and listening. Engaging in a variety of strategies for effective interpersonal communication can gain us jobs. We may not understand God's big plan, but we should trust that He has one for us. Everything in our lives happens the way for His reason. We have to put our faith in God. Be ready with your pen and paper. You may answer the post test now. Here are the answers of the post test. Wait a minute, we're not yet done. Get worksheet number 1, English 7, 4th quarter. Have a nice day.